Welcome to episode 5 of Comic Book Wars. Jimmy.
Yeah, the comicbookspeculation.com podcast. I'm Jimmy Linguini, obviously. You're Nico from Weekend Update on comicbookspeculation.com. And we're also joined by Sleepy John.
Yo, what's happening?
That was a good intro.
Why does he always have better shirts than us?
I think he has like disposable shirt income. Where he can just always buy these cool shirts.
Hat. Had to get a new hat. It's got a fish on it, and I got it strictly for Jimmy.
Did you buy like 5 of them, and they all have different variations of colors? That seems to be your thing.
If they had them, I would have, because it's a hat with a fish on it, and how is that a bad thing? That's it's got a fish on it.
You're a very confusing man.
So, what do you got for this week? What's your hot button topic?
Well, I mean, this week's pretty much filled with Adi Granoff stuff, no? And I hear there's like, I didn't read Deadpool 13 this week. That comes out tomorrow or this week or whatever, whenever you're watching this. But apparently there's like a new team and some new characters show up in it. Do you guys know anything about that?
That's what I heard as well. I don't know anything about the characters. I'm surprised that's your top pick of the week.
No, I mean, my top pick is really like the Adi Granoff stuff. So there's an Adi Granoff variant for that one, the 25th anniversary of the Marvels. And that one seems to be hovering just above cover. And then there's also the Captain Marvel 6, 1 in 50 and 1 in 100 Granoff variant that seem to be doing really well. And those covers look really nice. And unlike previous times when Granoff has done variants, there's no store variants for that issue. There's no cliffhanging moment that made retailers order a bunch of copies of that book. So I don't think that one's going to be really easy to find.
Yeah, they did have, I believe the image was released in enough time that retailers could order it. I'm not positive.
For sure, but who's going to order 50 or 100 copies of a no-issue Captain Marvel book just for these variants?
Yeah.
Are there really retailers that do that? I don't think so.
I don't know. The math doesn't seem to work out for me when you can sell a 1 in 100 for $100. I think that's on a good day. You're hoping that it sells for 200, but I don't know if it will. Are the prices up there yet?
No, I mean the 1 in 100 was hitting 130 to 150, and it's a beautiful cover, and it seems to be on the rise. And the 1 in 50 was hitting about $100.
So, was it really?
Yeah, it was like I think it was 80 to 100. So
I was watching it pre-sale 2-3 weeks ago, and they were just under ratio, I think.
They're really nice covers.
Yeah, I do like it. I feel like there was something on the Captain Marvel one that was off to me, but I think it's a really nice cover. And it's got Black Widow, so I don't think you can lose on that with the movie coming out.
Yeah.
Not that it has any relation to that, but people just buy random variants when like a movie comes out. Oh, it's got that character on it, and it's hard to find. So,
if the movie's good, were there any books that you thought were really big for this week, John?
Walking Dead, of course.
Oh,
Walking Dead 192, which was somewhat. It was thought that this issue could be the death of Rick, because 191 he was shot at the end of the book, and he was gasping for air. So it was kind of hyped up that maybe this book would be the death of Rick, and it was an oversized issue, 30 pages, I believe, of story. And so I think there'll be enough of them out there. The thing is, I'm not sure if your local retailer upped their orders, because Walking Dead's slowly been falling in terms of distribution. It's down in like the 40s now, I think. And it used to be a consistent top 10 issue. So I don't know if your local retailer upped their orders. I'm sure a lot of the online retailers did. And I got myself some. I'm betting on it. There has been some leaks on it already that it looks like Rick may no longer be in the book, but I haven't read the whole issue yet. Nico, were you able to get your hands on a copy?
I picked up 2 today. I picked up a copy of the blank variant and a copy of the regular cover. I didn't crack them open or have the foresight to bring them up to my attic, to my comic book room, so that I could show the people that were watching the podcast. And I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, if you're watching live, maybe you don't want to know. Some people still like reading the books, but from everything I've seen, spoiler, so you can not listen right now if you don't want to be spoiled. From what I've seen, it is the death of Rick. So,
Well, it's not just the death of him; it's also the first appearance of Zombie Rick.
wow, very good point. Very good point. And the little sheriff has to take him out.
Is Midtown Comics sold out of the book yet, or any of these other online retailers? I know
I've
that's
not
where I
tried-
ordered a bunch.
I know some of the smaller online retailers were. Midtown, I am not sure about. I don't know. Is Midtown still limiting hot books to one?
No,
Like
sometimes
they
I
stopped
think
doing it.
I think they start limiting them around Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
But the news for this one came out on Sunday, I think. So I was still able to order a few copies off of them. And if they cancel it, they cancel it. Who cares?
How did it come out Sunday? I don't understand that.
It was Sunday. Yeah, it came out on Sunday. It got leaked. So,
But did somebody have a copy in hand?
some people get their copies on Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody got their copies on a Sunday.
Like a
But
UPS
it
driver
happened.
opened up a case or something.
I don't know. It happened.
Yeah. Maybe somebody at the printer or something. I don't know.
I mean,
That's interesting.
what does this mean for 191? Because it seems to still be hovering around $8. So we'll see.
Yeah, has there been any mainstream attention at all?
Not yet, but I believe that there might be a push tomorrow once more people are attuned to his death.
I think there will be something big because the show is still on TV. Obviously, Rick is still a central character in that. I think that's going to be a big moment. They've picked up a lot lesser stories in national news before. I'll say that.
I'm just trying to think
Speaking
of. I'm just trying to think of a smaller story that they would have picked up.
Well, is that how about the?
Is there a reference to? Is there a bad dog joke here?
Ocasio-Cortez? No. How about the
No.
Ocasio-Cortez?
Well, she has a comic book. I mean, they reported on the Barack Obama comic book, and he wasn't president-elect at the time, was he?
Which one? The Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, was he president-elect at the time?
I don't know. It was,
I don't think he was.
Can't recall back.
But whatever. Yeah, no, I don't think he was. And then he went against Romney, right? That was the first time he went up against Romney.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and then Spawn
have
had
that-
its thing, and the
Have
Spawn
to have
one was
that Canadian
Spawn
guy
was
tell us
after
our history.
Spawn was after Spider-Man. So I don't think it's that unusual that the political comics got some news play just based on that. Now that I think about it, because yeah, the Barack Obama one, he wasn't president when the Spider-Man one came out.
Yeah. How about do you remember when Superman fought the cops somewhat recently? That was a national news story. I don't know if that was in Rebirth or if that was New 52.
Was it a Black Lives Matter thing though that he joined?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was why. Yeah.
Mhm. But
So
that
yeah, you're
issue-
right.
That
they
issue
do-
never really amounted to anything value-wise.
Yeah. I mean, they do pick up on some stuff. You're right on that. So hopefully they pick up on the death of Rick, but who knows? What do you think, Nico? Anything good this week aside from what we already went over?
No, I was just sitting here trying to think what they could possibly do to make people buy Walking Dead back issues again.
Well, you think that this might be a ruse, right? A dream sequence where he's not actually dead?
No, I don't know. I'm not really giving too much thought to it. I mean, in other words, Rick
But
has
that's exactly
had
what
his-
you told me. You told me that you thought it was a dream sequence and it didn't actually happen. What do you mean you haven't put that much thought into it?
Was this on the
I don't think
podcast?
I don't think I said that. That was
Oh,
probably
I did.
okay.
I did maybe on the podcast because I
Okay, well,
I thought it was.
I
didn't
imagine
think
it
it
was
would-
Nico that said it.
Yeah, it
because
sounds
I
like
come up
somebody
with
would
some
say.
bizarre shit like that. Nah, I mean, I am a skeptic. That being said, Rick's been tortured, right? Like they chopped his hand off. They killed his infant baby. I mean, what else could they possibly do but kill him?
Take
It's
his
like-
manhood.
I mean, that's serious business,
I have no clue. You're right.
right? Like there's like
I just
the last
I just
road
think-
for the guy.
I will say, I think if this is the way that he dies, it is a very terrible story.
He's Maggie shooting, whatever, Mr. Burns.
Yeah, exactly. He's sleeping in bed and he just wakes up and the dude shoots him, and that's how he dies. Like, why would he not? Why wouldn't they set him up like, he's out getting food or what? I honestly don't know if he still does that. I don't know what goes on in the book anymore. He's out, beyond the walls and gets caught by 100 walkers, and that's how he dies. And he takes 50 of them out, went down swinging.
It was certainly not a hero's death. I mean, this isn't like Braveheart kind of.
I feel like
is The Walking Dead though about heroes? It's not about zombies. It's about interpersonal connections and about how like everybody can stay human in the most inhumane situations. So I think him dying in like something where it's like not a big show, I think that makes sense to the way that the book has been set up. But maybe that's just me. And again, I stopped reading it at what, like after they killed Glenn instead of Rick. So who knows?
That was a beautiful idea there, Jimmy. I'm just right. Yeah,
that's what I thought. That's what the book's based on. It's not about zombies. It's about survival and humanity. So that's why him not like dying a hero's death makes sense to me, I guess. If that makes sense, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's just a normal way to die based on the society that they're in.
Yeah. But who knows? I mean, I don't know.
But I mean, really, if they would have attached like a mace to his stub, and he just was like out swinging that around, and he just like busted up a bunch of zombies' heads, wouldn't that have been sweet?
Well, yeah, probably.
He's like, I got to take this thing for a spin, and he's out like swinging it around.
Are there any Walking Dead books you guys think are undervalued? I mean, the only one I can think of that's actually still performing well, other than the first issue, two books I think I can think of off the top of my head. First appearance of Michonne and the retailer incentive variants for 100, the Lucille variants, the foil and the non-foil.
A lot of people are unloading their books right now for Walking Dead.
100. The 100 second print, the black cover with Negan, that thing like recently sold for like $25 in 9.8 or something.
Yeah, that one's been going down for a while. I think right now
$56. I bought it.
No, it wasn't.
If you're buying Walking Dead, what you want to be looking for are the heroes variants, because as people are dropping off their books, those ones are going to go for record low prices. All the Walking Dead books are going for really low prices, and the big Walking Dead collectors are offloading everything. So the heroes ones are the ones that will maintain their value, will continue to grow up in value, and I'm sure right now I think they're selling for record low prices. So those ones will rebound, just as all heroes blanks have in the past, and they've always been sought after. So I just think that's something to think about.
What are you saying? The heroes blanks?
The Heroes Initiative Walking Dead blank. They do these charity blanks where they send them to a bunch of artists. They do sketches on them, then CGC grades them, and they sell them on eBay. And there's only a limited print run of them. They're reprinted in a bunch of books.
What about the Heroes Initiative that were never supposed to be released, but some of them made it out somehow?
Well, I can tell the person who Image had made the blanks decided that he could just keep making them and then sell them on eBay. So that's how a few of them got out. And then Skybound had to contact him with a cease and desist, and then they had to contact CGC. So CGC won't grade them, and CBCS won't grade them. PGX will grade them. I think one sold for like $10,000. I think PGX graded. So I just think there's a lot of value in those books.
There's a couple of those oddball books. Like there's a one from the All Out War arc, which is after 100. There was like Charlie Adlard would always get his comp copies, and they did a third printing of this one book, and they actually never released it. But he would get his and just sell them, or give them to his local shop, I think, and they would sell them. Isn't that the story, Jimmy? Do you recall that?
Yeah, he gave all of his books to Infinity and Beyond, and then they would share the profits of the books.
And so this third print never really got released, but he got his copies, and then they did sell some of them.
Well, yeah, they graded them, and then it was added on the CGC census, which, well, not it. So for CGC books, it can get competitive. Like they have the registry where you can register all of your books, and then you get points for all. So if you have a full run of Walking Dead, you get a certain amount of points, and then people compete with each other. And if you have signatures on them, you get more points. And if you have a 9-9, it's more points than 9-8. So it gets really repetitive. And all these people, it's a big dick measuring contest, but there's people that do that and they're really into that. So when they added that third printing, it completely screwed up that census competition, registry competition, because now you could get points if you had this book. And the only way to get this book, I think, was paying I think they were asking like $2,000 for 9-8 copies. So it really, really left a bad taste in the main collectors of Walking Dead's mouths. And I think that really might have been something that has hurt the Walking Dead collectability in the long term. But I think that's really what went on with that. And I think the only reason that those books ended up selling was because somebody else wanted to say, hey, I have a better collection than you. I have this book. I can get more points on my thing to get a higher. And then CGC sends out like certificates at the end of the year for everybody who's like number one and has the best collections for each different subcategories. And there's hundreds of subcategories. It's a whole total thing, whole total different world. But that's the main reason why those books sold. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that is definitely a niche part of the hobby, is those registry awards. And I got one year too. I just went on the computer and I uploaded my stuff, and then I hit print, and it printed out a certificate. And so you can get your own if you feel like making it.
Yeah, but I don't think I have like I tried it for Nowhere Men because I have all of them, but then somebody outed me with 9-9s. How do you have 9-9s of Nowhere Men? Who cares? Tried with Miracle Man. And then somebody had like Alan Moore signed Miracle Mans, and somehow that gets them like more. It's like, I don't know. So it's just a whole total thing.
Of course that would.
Whatever, man.
Do you have any of the
how'd they get Alan Moore to sign them? Be like stake out his house?
It was before he was so angry.
No, he did one CGC signing where he signed a bunch of stuff, including there's one Killing Joke CGC, there's one Warrior Magazine CGC,
wow,
and a few others. But it's hard.
Did any of them get encapsulated with his beard hair? Because I could see that happening.
I feel like that would be worth more money, no?
I had one come back from CGC that had a hair in it, and then I had to send it
that
back.
wasn't from anyone's beard.
It was a real short one too.
It was in the slab.
Yeah,
that's weird. I've never. I really haven't had issues with CGC and presentability. I mean, CBCS, my most recent one, I did, but CGC not so much. So I'm surprised to hear that.
It was weird. And usually I don't inspect them that closely. I'm not like some people where they're like looking at to see if does this actually grade what the label says? I just happened to be looking at it, and it was kind of obvious as to the part of the cover it was on.
But yeah, if there's a hair.
Yeah, so then you send it back and they call it a mechanical failure or something is what they call it. I was like, no, there was no only mechanical failure was the guy that cut his hair.
Well, maybe he come on, you went through this process through your life, no?
Yeah, sometimes you're just sitting at work.
Did you wear a hairnet at work and not get like hair and stuff when you were losing your hair? I mean, I'm losing my hair, and I find hair sometimes.
I did not. You're right. I should be. I'm getting to the point now where I'm have to start wearing a nose hairnet because those.
All right, are we done with the disgusting conversations and with this week's books?
I think so. What do you want to announce the winner for the contest?
Absolutely, you're a mind reader. So we had a ton of entries, even more than last week, and we're very excited to announce this week's winner, none other than RJ Taylor. RJ, if you're listening, thank you for your support. We'll be sending you this signed Captain America comic book forthwith. Thank you again for your support.
Sweet. Congrats, RJ.
In other news, we've got another giveaway. We'll be talking about that later in the podcast, so stay tuned.
Oh, what could it be?
Oh, yeah. This is the next book that we'll be giving away.
Oh, you're supposed to wait.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was a question.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I'm fine with it.
Fine, let's do that now. So all you have to do is like and share this broadcast on your social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can do that on your personal page or alternatively in a group page of collectors. And then take a screen capture with your phone and email it to comicbookwars@gmail.com.
Yeah, that would work. That's probably a better email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really clever email.
No, I forgot I had that for like the previous ones. That's the one we should have been using the whole time. I agree with you.
comicbookwars@gmail.com. And the best news is there'll be the information in the description of this video, so you don't have to hurry up and write it down. Continuing with the broadcast, guys.
Yeah, so I guess there's two big DC books that started picking up this week. And both of them are a big surprise to me. So I guess I'll start with Pearl #1.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Apparently, it's going to be a movie Bendis is hinting at, and it was still available on Diamond when he said that. So,
Oh, was it really?
So a bunch of #1s have
and that's up to issue. So he's saying in issue 10, check the letters column for movie information or something, right?
Yeah, he probably just talks about all the movies he likes.
That would be amazing. Or like he's like, oh, check the Pearl column. By the way, there's a new Superman movie coming.
That's Supergirl.
Oh, Supergirl.
I purchased a few of the Pearl #1s when the news first hit, so I'm hoping on it. But whatever, who cares?
There's how many covers, guys? Three or
a blank, an Alex Maleev cover B, and then there's a cover A.
I like them. Actually, I like both those covers. They're both pretty good. Maleev, I feel like is underrated though. He doesn't get the Granoff credit that he should.
Even the blank one though, it's not like a blank per se. Like it's more like a limited art. Well, more of like a limited cover because it still has like the way the trade dress is. It still looks presentable in a way.
So I looked at it. It like because the Pearl title is not. Does it have something underneath? Is it transparent, or is the Pearl title just really soft in terms of the amount of ink on it, or something?
I think it's just like soft.
Yeah,
the amount of ink they put on it. I'm not sure.
It's different.
But yeah, so there was that one, which is out of nowhere. The other one that I guess really surprised me because I thought it was a goof when we first like heard about it a few years ago, was apparently they're moving forward with a Django Unchained sequel. And they're basing it on.
What the fuck did you just call Django?
He said Dango.
And they're basing it on the Dango Zorro #1 from Dynamite and Vertigo Comics.
Yeah.
Which again doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
So, now explain to me why you don't think that makes sense, because nobody cares about Zorro. I
didn't think they were going to make a sequel to that movie. I thought Tarantino said he was only going to do like 14 movies or something, right? And
yeah.
I thought the Hollywood one was like supposed to be his second last movie or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was his last.
Not even. I think it was his last. It's not even 14. It's like 6 or 9 or
so something. Apparently that's wrong if he's making a sequel to this, right?
He didn't say he was making it though, right? Isn't he just producing it? Or writing it or something?
He wrote the comic book with
really?
Matt Wagner and Chris Epidibs. So it's supposed to be a direct sequel to the movie. When it came out a year after the movie. So it kind of makes sense that it would be based on that. When North Korea hacked all of Sony's emails and leaked those, it was hinted in those emails. And that's what made me personally think the emails were fake. But apparently they're very real. So that's just weird. But yeah, those books have really picked up as well.
Yeah, now there's two key covers,
has been
right?
known. This has been known for 5 years.
Well, whenever The Dictator came out, and The Dictator is the movie about the North Korean dictator, and then there was hacking done of Sony in retaliation or something. So I can't remember when that was, but one of the hacked emails that was leaked said that there was going to be a Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover, and now we have that new Men in Black movie. And another one was saying that there was going to be a Dango Zorro sequel film.
Okay, so that was a different Sony hack than the original one, when there was a lot of Marvel stuff dumped in that one.
No, those were part of those emails as well.
That was all the same ones?
Yeah.
No, I thought that was the older.
No, it was when The Dictator came out.
Yeah, I didn't think that was that long ago. Maybe 4 years ago.
I think it was like, yeah, about that. So
Then they never released it in theaters.
The Dictator, yeah, they did.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they still
Because I
released
thought
it.
because didn't they not release it that weekend because they thought there would be
I think it was pushed back, but
terrorist
then like
activity?
Obama said something to Sony like we shouldn't push down to pressure from terrorists or something. So
Okay,
I think it was still put out.
If it was Obama, it was at least 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, it was 100% him, and he was very involved with it because he didn't understand why this country, and I think it was China, was helping them. So I don't know. There was a whole big thing on it, but yeah, it was political in some degree, whatever. But yeah, so that's happening, and those books are moving, and there's a bunch of
2 key covers, right?
well, there's a bunch of covers, and I mean, Midtown still has a few of them available, like near mint ones at cover price. So,
But I definitely like Nico. Which ones do you like?
I like the 1 in 50 Jay Lee sketch and the limited edition Virgin Jay Lee. Long story short, Alex and I have been talking at length about, is this a 1 in 25? It appears to be a 1 in 25, but it doesn't appear to be a 1 in 25. The Jay Lee Virgin, and no, it's not a 1 in 25, but it appears to have been distributed at a ratio of about 1 in 25. So, I don't know what to call it other than a limited edition cover that's kind of like a 1 in 25. But the 1 in 50, I think we both agree, and you probably agree too, is the hardest book, and then that Virgin Jay Lee cover would be the second hardest book.
well, the way I look at it is Dynamite and Dynamic Forces have always been like the biggest guys in the pump and dump game, if that makes sense, and they've always been very keen on the market and overpricing books. So the 1 in 50 is more expensive than the Virgin, which makes me think that it's more rare just based on that.
And it's exactly twice as expensive, right, than the 1 in 50. The 1 in 50
which is why
exactly twice.
I would have assumed it was a 1 in 25. But
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's sound logic.
Yeah, I like the color one better personally. The color Virgin, which you're saying is the lower ratio one.
I think there's probably going to be about twice as many copies of that book as there are of the sketch.
The black and white. Yeah.
Right.
I like the color one. I think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. No, it's sharp. It's the best looking book of them all. That's why I like them both.
That's the cover A too. The cover A trade dress is that cover too, and that's a nice one. I was able to pick up one of those today.
Zorro and Django are back to back.
But there didn't seem to be that many copies on eBay. I think they pretty much got flushed out overnight. So definitely a book to be looking for and thinking about. Also, what surprised me is Dango Unchained #1 from Vertigo. The first print does nothing, but the second print is a black and white Jim Lee sketch variant, which is the 1 in 25 variant for the first print, but it's done in a black. That one sells for about $20 to $25 in near mint condition. There's also a third print that seems to be performing well as well. That is the first appearance of Dango in comics. So those seem to be doing well. Not the first print, #1, but the Jim Lee second and third, which I would assume the second print has a lower print run because they went to the third print so fast. So. And the 1 in 25 is also one I think that you should be looking for if you can find it at a reasonable price, because again, first Dango in comics, and you would think that, oh, this means nothing, but if they're basing the second movie on the comic book, it's fair game.
Because the original comic came out after the movie or coincided with it?
The Vertigo comic was an adaptation of the movie. It was an 8-part series.
Yeah.
And it had some crazy variant covers.
Okay.
So like crazy good. But yeah, so those are definitely things to be thinking about.
That's a second or a third print?
The second print is the first print 1 in 25, the second print, and then the third print seems to also be doing well above cover. But I would stick to the second print and the 1 in 25 Jim Lee. If that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
What else do you have on this outline, Nico?
Well, let's see what we got here.
What a transition.
What do you think
I wanna
about? Go ahead.
I want to talk about the Joker Harley Criminal Sanity Black Label series. I'm stoked. It is being written by a New York Times bestselling author. I believe he or she wrote Beautiful Creatures. And
Is that a comic book, Beautiful Creatures?
no, it was a novel, a best-selling novel. The movie was apparently not too well received, but the book critically acclaimed. I think that's probably half of the reason that people are upset about the movie adaptation. Nevertheless, I like the premise, which is it's a reimagining of Harley Quinn as a forensic psychiatrist who is a profiler working with Gotham PD to find a serial killer, and during that investigation, she encounters the Joker. It's a 9-part series under DC's Black Label imprint, and I think that hopefully a lot of retailers are going to sleep on it, and the book's got some potential.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah, isn't that what the
Denzel
Harley
Washington and
animated movie is?
what? Oh, okay,
The one
fine.
with Kaylee Cuoco as the voice of Harley Quinn. Isn't that what that is?
It's the one with is it Sandra Bullock, and Denzel Washington is in he's in bed all the time, and they need his help to catch some serial killer, and then somehow the serial killer comes into his house and then kills him. but
Lovely
he's like,
Bones.
there you go, Lovely Bones. Yeah, that movie. Yeah,
it's
exactly
also
what
the
it
premise for I think maybe you guys remember Silence of the Lambs and every other good crime story ever. So I'm pretty excited about it.
No, but it sounds exactly like the Denzel Washington one, where he's in bed and he's still helping the police solve crimes, and then somehow the murderer comes after him. Sounds just like it. But
I'll take your word for it.
I think that's good. That sounds like a good premise. I'm in.
So, how many Black Label things have there been now? You got Batman Damned. You had the one last week, the Grim Knight, or no,
Last Night on Earth.
Last Night on Earth. Which, by the way, Jimmy, I know didn't like it. I have not yet read it, but it is sold out now, I believe, at Diamond level. And
They retroconned the Sean Murphy series, right, into a Black Knight one. Batman White Knight, is it
Yes.
called?
Yeah,
Right.
White Knight, they retconned it into it because then that one's got a new series coming out.
Which is kind of like what they did with Sandman and Vertigo Comics, right? So it's not the first time DC has done something like that.
It seemed really odd though. Like they knew that Black Label was coming. Why didn't they just make that part of that anyway? I don't know if they didn't think it was going to be as well received or what. Because it's not a continuity title, White Knight, but it was very popular. It's a good read. I don't know if you guys have read it. I liked it.
It's great. Yeah, I really liked it. And the sequel apparently features Azrael.
I couldn't remember what the premise of it is.
It's kind of a principal character.
Okay.
I have no idea what the premise of the sequel is going to be, but the last time I looked on Sean Gordon Murphy's website, he has sketch covers of the
White Knight.
The White Knight A cover.
I thought there was an NYCC variant that he was selling too.
He may be, but the A cover is the sketch cover he has is exclusive to his website. For about a year, he was only selling signed copies, and now he's finally selling unsigned copies.
Okay,
so
that's the one I'm
win.
thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of. I thought that was a con variant as well, but you could be right.
No, I think the con variant, unfortunately, was a foil variant.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. He has been selling that on there for a while, and it because I remember looking at it. It was selling above on eBay. It was selling above what he was charging, but it didn't seem like enough to warrant the risk of buying them and getting stuck with them. As a flip. I would take one just for my collection though, because I do have a run.
Yeah, it's a great read.
I think it's one of those ones that will, over time, it'll only appreciate.
Yeah, and then the question really, I guess, for me is, are they going to bring back, they have two Harleys in that first series. I can't remember the name of the other Harley Quinn-esque character.
Neo Joker.
Right, but what's her regular name?
I don't recall.
That's the kind of trivia that yeah, good luck. But
they meet.
I like her character.
They meet each other, and like I'd have to go back and read the intricacies of it, but like the one is his current girlfriend and the one is his past girlfriend.
Right, but I like that character that they introduced. They basically have Harley as kind of a normal psychopath who's obsessed with a serial killer, and then this other Harley Quinn character who's more of the
I think she was cured.
Psychopath. You know what I mean? And I think it'd be interesting to see if that character ever transitions to regular continuity.
Yeah, I think she was like cured of liking him or something. Is that what it was? I'd have to go back and read it now. I'm forgetting all the details of it. I just remember reading it and liking it a lot. And the whole premise is that Joker becomes good, basically, and the people dislike Batman. So this is a cool story. I guess we got off on a tangent there. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this new. I think the Black Label stuff has been good so far. I know when they first announced it, people were like, "What is this supposed to be? Why are you doing this?" But this one sounds interesting. Is that new? There's also just a Joker book coming out. I don't know if this is a reprint.
The Three Jokers story, is that what you're talking about?
They haven't said what the heck they're going to do with that.
It's the Lee Bargero one, right?
Is it Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a reprinting of it, and I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that has now also been added to the Black Label printing.
Yeah, that was like the first appearance of a character though that ended up on a TV show or movie or something. Yeah, I don't know. The Three Jokers, they've never really said what they're going to do with that. At least as far as I know.
Yeah, it's almost like they abandoned it because you don't hear anything about it.
I feel like they're slowly building to something. But also, that probably wouldn't be Black Label, right? Because that was in continuity at the end of New 52.
Right, but they're absolutely going to release that story under the Black Label, at least if they go with what they've said.
Yeah.
They're going to release it under the Black Label imprint.
Because it's a little bit darker, all that stuff. A little bit more mature audience, I guess, is what the Black Label stuff is, aside from being not in continuity.
As long as I don't have to see Three Joker Wangs, I'm okay with it.
Wow. Well, some people might like to see three. It worked the first time. Would it be worth 3 times as much as Batman Damned #1?
It's a valid inquiry. I don't know the answer to that.
And please, nobody.
No, that's not a valid inquiry.
I knew I could get him off mute.
It's a valid inquiry. He says no. What is wrong with you? But yeah, I don't know if Three Jokers is happening. I'm not sure. I see a bunch of people gravitating towards Justice League 50.
Yeah, what is that? I don't know what this deal is behind that.
I found a stack today, and then I looked them up on eBay, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. So I thought I'd ask my dude Sleepy John. Maybe he'd be able to explain it to me.
That's one I am not up on at all, honestly. I did see some people talking about it, but I don't know anything about it.
There's like a Ramita Jr. cover that's garbage.
I'm surprised. Apparently Ramita Jr. garbage.
It was the month of Ramita Jr. covers.
Oh, okay.
Which why?
Was that when that Nightwing one came out? Where it was raining? His only good covers are when it's raining.
They all look like it's raining. Are you kidding me?
It's just all lines everywhere.
He has one where it's like the whole Justice team are like doing a side panel like swooshy flying thing, and it looks like they're in water or something. Thinking back on it, yeah, he has a weird style where that sucks. I don't like it, but whatever.
But it's weird because his old stuff is totally different.
No, it isn't. He always sucked.
No, his old stuff, some of it's decent. Maybe. But he's got like a later age bad Jack Kirby ripoff look. Where everybody's square face.
It's probably what's happened to Neil Adams, where he has terrible inkers now, or he inks his own stuff now, as opposed to having somebody else do it, and now it's garbage.
Neil Adams has had some real bad ones, but I remember he had one good one somewhat recently, and I was like, whoa, where has this Neil Adams been? And I was like, oh, it's probably the inker. Because if you look at some of his sketch stuff now, he still has some really good stuff.
Yeah, but then he
commissions his commission.
Then he colors them, Like,
I don't know about that.
no, not the commissions, but then he'll take his art and then he'll color it and do computer stuff where it looks crap.
He doesn't know how to use a computer.
Well, he's coloring it somehow.
No, somebody else is
I'd be
coloring it
surprised.
for him.
No, he colors his own stuff.
Hey, while we're on the topic of Batman, do either of you have any thoughts about what the hell's going to happen post Tom King, or what that's all about? You know, now that we're a couple weeks out from the news that he's leaving the title.
I mean, I'll give it a read.
I don't know. The other thing too is, might as well go into that. Is Tom King? So they gave him that Batman Catwoman title,
Right. What the hell does that mean?
and it's not in continuity. That's the thing.
And you saw the news articles. There's allegedly some leaked information that indicates that his plan was to have a future version or an alternate timeline version of Bruce Wayne come back and commit suicide, and basically tell him that a world without Batman is, just a horrific world.
I never saw that part.
Yeah, to try to dissuade. Well, this didn't actually happen, but
No, I know. I didn't know that he said that Batman's, as you know, it will be altered or whatever.
No, this was apparent. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but he certainly said that, right? The alleged leak was supposedly to have occurred in a already released title, perhaps months and months ago. I'm not sure if this was in Heroes in Crisis or where, but basically it was going to be an effort to dissuade Selena Kyle from marrying Batman, or to dissuade Bruce Wayne from marrying her. And, I don't know what sort of strange ass soap opera nonsense they were trying to do there, but apparently that didn't get greenlit according to the rumor. And I don't know if that's going to be, kind of like the strange plot of this mini series that's forthcoming, or what exactly they're planning on doing. But it's far more interesting to me now that it's been kind of confirmed, at least from King and the other, or the director, that he's going to be working on the New Gods screenplay.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not like Warner Brothers got pissed. Look, I don't know what you're doing. You're not selling books. You're writing these weird Batman stories that nobody cares about. You're done.
That's why I'm wondering, does that play into it? Because they gave him another title, but then it came out that he's got his hands full writing a movie screenplay as well.
I somehow doubt that it was like, hey, sport, we don't like what you're doing with Batman. You're fucking it up. Here, write this screenplay for this major motion picture, and we'll give you this non-continuity title to do your Batman Catwoman stuff with. But maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Batman still sells in the top 5 every month, doesn't it? So whether it was
critically acclaimed,
maybe it's a loud minority of people saying I don't like Tom King's Batman, but it was still selling well enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they would change it if it's working, except that Marvel seems to do that a lot. Whatever's working, they seem to try and screw it up somehow.
Amen. Jimmy,
I think sales must be down on Batman, and they must be noticeable, because they wouldn't let him go if they weren't.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, it's a top 4 book,
mm-hmm.
but I mean, there's probably a big.
But it was New 52 was #1 every month.
Yeah, so I could see why there's issues. I'm also curious. Like, I'm looking at this Market Watch thing on the thing. It says something about Ignition. Is this the remix to Ignition?
Hot and fresh about the kitchen.
Yeah, it says like Mark Waid, Ignition #1.
Oh,
the remix. What's going on with that, Nico?
I think it's Mark Waid is working with. See, they were supposed to do something, but R. Kelly got a lot more charges handed down this last week, I think. So.
Oh, it's like that Jay-Z R. Kelly Best of Both Worlds.
God, I think everybody forgot about that album.
It's a good album.
No.
What about Best of Both Worlds Part 2? So Nico, what's Ignited #1 from Mark Waid?
I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, okay.
I was the one that actually put the outline together.
What's Ignited 1 by Mark Waid?
That's what I was talking to you about earlier. He's got it's an independent label book.
It's not. This isn't the one from Humanoids.
Is Humanoids a label?
What?
Is Humanoids
Who are you?
a comic label?
Yeah.
I know, never heard of them. No, that probably
What?
is it then.
Yeah, they publish a bunch of books in Europe, and they published all the Jodorowsky
I live in the
Mobius
United
stuff,
States.
like the In Call and all that stuff, and yeah. What? Don't go like this.
This means nothing to me.
Yeah, Humanoids is I'm surprised that they're making a big push in the American market, but we'll see where it goes. I'm also surprised that they've teamed up with Mark Waid, but who knows what that means. So
This
yeah.
is the only release they have this week.
Yeah, usually they're big on hardcovers and various graphic novels and different reprintings of books. So it is surprising this new like they had a free comic book day book as well. So this seems to be the new book they're pushing, right?
Yeah. I was intrigued by it because it was Mark Waid. I don't know much more than that though.
I mean, he did bring back Immortal Hulk, right? Him and Zub, didn't both of them do that?
The Avengers run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Which was very well received. Yeah. So I don't know. Check it out. It comes out tomorrow. I highly doubt many shops have bought it. Do you think a lot of smaller shops are going to have it?
Well, it was a free comic book day book, so if it did well on free comic book day, I'm sure that the stores would have ordered a few copies.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. It is Humanoids. It is Mark Waid. So, I mean, has Mark Waid had any good books outside of Marvel in the last 10 years? No.
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, Incorruptible was okay for a minute, literally a minute.
I don't hear anybody ever talk about that series though.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I don't know if it's a good spec play, but we'll see. I mean, it is a new number one. What's
exactly.
What's all time comic season 1?
Oh, what does it say in the parentheses there?
It says Herb Trimp art.
Yeah. How did they? So like, how old is this art?
Who's the publisher?
I don't know. Somebody, some small. Again, it was like somebody who was only. This is the only comic they're coming out with this week. Sorry, I am lacking the digital technology to do the research on it currently.
I mean,
but I thought it was really odd. Like, how do they have Herb Trimpe art when he died? I mean, obviously, there's probably a lot of art out there they could use, but is it? It's not like a big two, or it's not Marvel art. Seems odd. You know, it's not like old Marvel art that they had sitting around that they never published. This is like an independent book. So,
are we talking about it's published by Fantagraphics?
Could be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it just hadn't been published because it's part of their they're creating this new multiverse or a new universe through the all-time comics thing, and they did Bullwhip already, and they did a few other ones. So if it's all-time comics,
sounds
which
right.
I'm assuming it is.
Have any of them been well received?
I mean, I read Bullwhip. I liked it. I didn't know they published any more books in that one, but
does it have the GIMP in it?
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
I thought we were talking about Tarantino stuff still. Okay.
I still don't know what that means.
All right, well, moving on.
But yeah, so I'm assuming it's all new stuff that just hasn't been printed. The thing with Herb Trimp is like I don't think his artwork was really all that great, and I think he just got lucky because when you think about it, he was just a Marvel fill-in artist. There were tons of Marvel fill-in artists, and he got lucky because he got the Hulk 180 job. If you look at things like his Godzilla run, you can tell his artwork isn't that great. Look at the faces. And then there's a few other books where there's no perspective at all. There's just blank spaces and like characters standing somehow. So he was never really known as the greatest artist. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had a few stories that he finished that were unpublishable by mainstream comic stuff. And now that he's gone, they're getting hitting the rounds.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think. Definitely.
Nico, any comment?
I don't really know what any of these titles are or why anybody would be attracted to a book because it has Herb Trimp art.
Why would anybody be attracted to a book because it's Stan Lee's final written piece?
Yeah, but there's a real difference between
Is there?
Ravage 2099.
Is there? Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. Because he probably wrote more on Ravage 2099 than any of the stuff that's being pumped out.
no question about it.
But I don't know. I think there's going to be an audience there. I mean, I'm not one. I think the only Herb Trimp piece I have is like a Rolling Stone magazine that he signed, where he did like the cover and it's like Hulk. But yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I'm not a big fan of the whole
His
thing.
Wolverine art is, in my opinion, it's not good at all. His Hulk stuff isn't terrible though.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like a Neil Adams.
No, it'd never. He
Right,
would never
so-
be in a. He would not be in a or B artist. Maybe a C level. Maybe.
Yeah, I bet in the early 80s he was like, how am I going to make this work? What am I going to do with my life? How am I going to keep making money? And then he just got lucky with Wolverine becoming so popular.
Could be.
But who knows?
Can we go back to Tom King? What do you guys
Yeah.
want to talk about? New Gods?
Yeah, there was one. There was a little bit more that we should have touched on. There was because it's him writing it, and this has been speculated on for 6 months, maybe, that they were going to use his Miracle Man run as possibly the base for the movie, for New Gods movie, which I think makes a lot of sense because Big Barda is a big part of that series. She's as much in it, more or less, as Miracle Man is. Mr. Miracle, sorry, Mr. Miracle. I always mix those two up. And the Female Furies are a big part of that series as well, and Granny Goodness. So all these are characters that they've already said are going to be part of the New Gods movie. So I think it could very well be source material.
Do they need him to write the screenplay if they base it off of his work, though?
Why do you ever need a screenplay writer to take a comic to?
I just don't think that it's
I
going
think
to be
it's
based
weird
on his
that-
comic.
I think it's weird that they're having him write a screenplay for a huge budget movie, and he's never written a movie before. I mean, you're really putting all of your eggs in one basket. Now, he's working with the director, who I think is also co-writing the screenplay. Is that
Yep.
correct? So,
Yeah.
she at least has some experience, but I can't imagine just hiring a. I mean,
I think he's probably just going to be punching up the screenplay that's already been written by the director.
is it more because he maybe knows a little bit more about the characters?
Probably. I don't think there's anybody who knows the characters more or better
Currently.
than Tom King at this point. Yeah. So it's a smart move, but I don't think it necessarily means that they're going to be adapting his material.
Mhm.
I would wait until like there's an announcement on it before I jump to buy any books.
Well, I think that series is one of the current big, well-received series. I think from the big two.
Yeah,
so I
so
don't
is
think you're
Hawkeye
gonna. I don't think you're
from
gonna
that
lose
fraction,
money
though.
on it. Yeah, that one was it's fallen out of flavor because it's how old now? 10 years old, maybe.
There's no but it's still a well written book. I mean,
Yes,
there's really
yeah,
no reason
yes.
for that book to have gone to lose any interest, really. So
I should say value, not
Yeah.
acclaim.
you're right. So I just feel like Mr. Miracle might be on a slump right now, but who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the Bronze Age books are banging though. I mean they are hot as can be, and it's not even necessarily the Mr. Miracle one. For whatever reason, number 4 I think is like all of a sudden the big.
What do you
book.
mean? For whatever reason, first Big Barda.
Exactly.
That book's been for a good while. That's been when people started speculating on women characters that had future potential. That was one that was definitely picked up on, and it's not like it was real hard to find, but those I feel like the DC books are not as prevalent as the Marvel stuff of the same age, because Marvel really pushed, hey, we're bringing women to the forefront, and these are collectors issues. Miss Marvel #1 and She-Hulk #1, super overprinted. whereas like in DC they were still somewhat playing the background to the male figures.
Dazzler
But-
#1
Yeah,
probably has the biggest printing of all of them because it was the first direct market book.
So yeah, Mr. Miracle #2, First Granny Goodis #4, First Big Barda, and I believe it's 6 is
Or 7.
first-
I can't remember.
Is it 6 or 9? Maybe.
The Female
Can't
Furies.
Yeah, but it's also the first Funky Flashman, which is when Jack Kirby was pissed off at Stan Lee and he made him into the salesman. So it's kind of it's a cool book to have in your collection for dual purposes.
Then, of course, there's New Gods #1.
Mm-hmm.
The Jimmy Olsen / Forever People first Dark Side tandem. Do either of you have an opinion about whether or not there's a greater opportunity with the Jimmy Olsen book or the Forever People book? Jimmy Olsen, of course, being the It book for like the last 20, 30 years, right? But being a much smaller appearance, right? Darkseid just appears on a TV screen. There's a more substantial appearance in Forever People #1, although not really that substantial. And then it's not until New Gods issue. I'm going to
2.
screw this up. Is it 2 or 4?
Is he on the cover of 2?
Whichever one's got his little head on it, where there's
Yeah.
actually a substantial appearance of Darkseid, and that book is just utterly forgotten. Although copies of it have been moving recently, so I liken that a lot. That trifecta a lot to the first appearance of Warlock, right? With the FF book, the Thor book, and the Marvel Premiere 1.
Yeah, no, that's a very
I-
good analogy.
Well, and what's interesting there is the FF appearance was traditionally the It book, right? For like 20 years or something. And then it's just been over the last decade that buyers have transitioned towards Thor.
Yeah, which Thor is him. The character's name is him. It's still not Warlock in that issue.
Which is why I think there's a good analogy between the New Gods #2 or 4, whichever one Darkseid appears on the cover, and the Marvel Premiere #1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer Forever People 1 over the Jimmy Olsen book, just because I like Jack Kirby over I like Neil Adams. So
I was gonna say just because who wants to admit to having a Jimmy Olsen book in their collection?
I have a
mean,
bunch.
Well,
It's a
you're
great
weird.
cover, though. And
You're
it's a
weird.
it's a black cover, and it's a great cover. And I know there's got to be fewer copies of the Jimmy Olsen book than Forever People #1, or am I wrong about that? I'd be interested in seeing what the sort of guesstimates are on the print runs. Because that Jimmy Olsen book sold a lot, but it's a #1.
Forever People 1 was it one of the Jack Kirby ones, right? When he made the switch over from Marvel to DC. And I believe it was highly promoted by DC as like, hey, this is what we got. So I don't think retailers slept on those books. The Jimmy Olsen, they probably did, but I don't think with the other ones. So I could see them having higher print runs is what I'm saying.
Well, Jimmy Olsen was also at the time, it was still a real popular comic. Surprisingly.
No, I mean, there's some cool covers and some cool stories. Like if you're a big fan of Superman and you want to see stuff like that's completely out of what you would see in a Superman comic, I mean, they were great stories, but I mean, I don't know. You obviously don't like them, so.
Well, it's hard to relate to current age because how many people do you know are like real big Superman fans? And you're reading you're reading the Superman offshoot to get another Superman story because you can't get enough.
Yeah, this is a good transition, guys. You want to talk about the Supergirl movie?
No, I kind of want to talk about like Superman 4 with Richard Pryor.
Yeah,
It's a great movie. Did you finally watch it?
No, but I think that's why
Have you never seen that?
No.
I find that so
I haven't
outrageous.
seen any of this. I haven't seen any of the early Superman movies.
He skis off of a roof of a skyscraper and he lands the whole way down like at the entry to the building.
Listen, I'm sure it's great.
It's got a canopy, to like cover people as they're coming in. And Richard Pryor just lands on it and he gets up and he dusts himself off. Woo, man, that was a close one. This is off the top of a skyscraper. Like Lex Luthor has like his lair at the top. Like, what in the hell am I watching?
There's also the the money skimming scheme that's copied by the guys in Office Space.
Oh, I don't recall that one. Oh, where they're getting the 1 cent off of
The
every
interest,
transaction.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I
or
just
the,
find it interesting that they use parts of Marlon Brando's scenes from the first 2 movies, and they use that in the Brandon Routh Superman film. So I don't know. But I just feel like people don't talk about those films anymore. So maybe it's just a different age.
It's a different age for sure.
Yeah. Can we talk about Supergirl?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
do you
What do you
got?
guys think? Well, it appears that it's actually going to get made, right?
There was a Supergirl TV show, right?
Still on, I believe.
Yeah, they still haven't gotten rid of it, which is disappointing.
So now they're making a Supergirl movie, you're saying?
Allegedly, according to Forbes magazine, they're the ones who published an article in conjunction with a bit about Tom King and the
Suicide
forthcoming New
Squad.
Gods. Was it Suicide Squad news?
No, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was
Pattinson Batman.
That's what it was. I'm sorry. With in conjunction with the casting for Robert Pattinson, they indicated that in 2020 we were going to see a Supergirl live-action major motion picture. So of course, there's her first appearance in Action Comics 252, which is a ginormous book. I want to say there's about 800 copies on the CGC census of that book, if my memory is correct, and about 250 copies of the Legion of Superheroes 23 Adam Hughes variant, and that about half of the copies of the Action Comics 252 are 4.0 or under, more than half. I remember looking at it recently, and hopefully I'm right about those numbers, but that book hasn't seen much action even after the Forbes magazine.
Is anybody excited about it?
I mean,
article.
One,
No.
that book that
Is a big book.
It's pretty high priced already.
Absolutely. But if you look at the movement that happened with Wonder Woman, right, when she was elevated to the status of like Batman, Superman, the question for me is, are we going to see even like a quarter of that with respect to Supergirl? Because if we do, then there's a ton of gains to be had with respect to that first appearance.
Is it the same actor from the CW?
No. There's been no casting news. I think it's going to be just a new iteration. And then the next thing to kind of think about is like, who's going to be the villain? And I'm trying to remember. There is a let me see. I think I wrote this one down. Bear with me.
Well, it could be anyone, right? In the Superman universe.
Yeah, I don't see why it couldn't be.
Her big.
I mean, it would be cool if it was Snowflame.
That's a
okay.
it's a very
DC.
real option.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it is
it
a
would be-
very real option. She could go to Colombia, she could fight drug lords, and then Snowflame could be there. And he'd be like, I get my power from doing cocaine. And then they'd fight. It would be great.
He says it like that.
Are we
Well, I
talking
imagine
about
I have
Superman
cocaine.
4 and Richard?
He's
Pryor
high on
again?
cocaine. Of course he's moving around like this. What do you mean? He gets his powers from cocaine.
I feel
I
like you're
thought we
still
were
talking
done.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. Richard Pryor's story's over. Move on.
Right.
No, we're talking about possible
Wow.
villains for this
Wow,
Supergirl.
He's dead, man. You're bringing up old stuff, man. He's
Speaking
dead.
of the ill of the dead.
What? I'm not even. You know what? Whatever. Snowflame is a real character, and he will get his due. You'll see.
That
Hey,
was foreshadowing that in Superman 4, Richard Pryor was skiing slopes.
It's true. Twilight is the New Gods villainess. I don't know what the hell you call her.
Twilight. No, that's the Batman. Twilight's Batman.
Right. No,
And
there's
he wasn't a good. I read somewhere somebody said that he wasn't a good vampire because it took him 5 years to turn into a bat.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought it was a good
It's
one.
joke.
That's
Yeah.
not mine. I read it.
It's like a dad joke, man.
yeah, but that's a solid joke.
It's a
That is
solid
pretty
dad
funny.
joke. So there's that Twilight character who would be kind of like an outside educated guess based upon the New Gods film, and then the other one that I think is kind of like the more reasonable one is Silver Banshee.
Oh, okay. Who
Right.
is Twilight?
Right, because she's kind of like
I don't know Twilight at all.
Twilight's first appearance. This is what I wrote down: is Supergirl Volume 4, number 15. That's from it's in
It's New
1997.
Oh,
No, 97.
You don't think they'd use a character like Rain? You don't think they'd bring back Rain like they
What
did on
about-
the TV show?
Killer Frost.
Yeah, Killer Frost could be good.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, those were just two that kind of came to mind.
I
I
feel
don't know
like
that
Killer-
Villain Spec's good anyway, but
I feel like Killer Frost is rumored for something else, and I can't remember what the hell it is.
I watched. Yeah, Killer Frost is supposed
Is
to be
it
in something.
Suicide Squad?
It's possible. I can't remember what it is. She's supposed to be. But I mean, after watching Captain Marvel, these female superhero movies. I mean, I'm excited for them. So I'd be okay with watching a Supergirl film.
yeah. And I guess my question is really like, are they going to try to do a shared universe to some extent? I mean, they're doing
Yeah,
the Batman
yeah.
prequels.
You know, yeah, they
They
will.
have to.
100%. They're going to go to
Yeah.
Detroit, and then for some reason, Steel is going to be there, and it's going to be great.
You know,
We've come full circle.
No, you know what? Until DC brings back Steel, I mean, I'm going to keep talking about it. So whatever. If you
John
don't like
Henry?
it-
Was
Yeah.
a pile driving man, Lord.
They could just get somebody to do voice over it and still have it as Shaq as the actor. Do a reverse Vin Diesel. It would be great.
why did he have to get a voiceover? Is his voice
Because
gone?
that was the worst part of the movie. Was it's like
Oh.
it's Shaquille O'Neal talking.
Oh,
You never watched Steel, did you? Whatever. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'll
I
try not
watched
to bring it back up.
him.
But yeah,
I
Supergirl sounds
watched
good.
him with
Um,
Charles
I don't-
Barkley.
Yeah, you
Charles-
can't.
Charles
you-
Barkley could be Godzilla.
You guys want to talk about some of the Kickstarter books that we've been talking about? Jimmy, I think you've done at
Have you
least
seen?
one,
Have you
maybe
seen that
two
book though?
articles.
That book has been getting a lot of play recently, though. That Godzilla versus Charles
The
Barkley.
Avengers? Oh.
Because because it's a low print, it's hard to find, it's a goofy one-off book, and this Godzilla movie is bringing up new Godzilla books. Plus, they announced the
Do
whole.
you have a signature
a whole
series
mo-
copy?
No, I don't even have a copy. They announced a whole Monsters universe that they're doing. I think they have it planned. Like they have 4 phases planned out. There's gonna be a Mothra movie. So
Nice.
yeah, that book has definitely been gaining some interest. So I'm glad you pulled that out. And again, that's Charles Barkley versus Godzilla. How that's a comic book, I don't know, but it's amazing. And I think Charles Barkley has a basketball in his hand on the cover, and he's like in kind of like a boxing ring scenario with Godzilla. It's pretty funny.
And Godzilla's like blowing flames, and he's like got a basketball. Like, yeah, that's gonna work.
Published by Dark Horse too. So hey, that could be option because Dark Horse apparently has that movie
Oh.
stuff happening. So it's fair
coming
game.
it's coming to Netflix. Godzilla versus.
But no,
Barkley.
I that book has been seeing a lot of interest recently. What were you
Weird.
saying, Nico? That I
just
Well,
relevant.
I think there's
just
a-
relevant speculation.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, we wouldn't want to do that. So I know there's at least 2 Kickstarter books that we've been talking about. I think you've done an article on one or both of them already.
Well, one isn't really a Kickstarter book. It's that so Brian K. Vaughan and a few other people, Matt Fraction, Charlie Adler, Rick Remender, they have this charity organization called Creators for Creators, where every year for the last 3 years they pick they take submissions and they pick one creator with their proposed project and they give them a $30,000 grant where they use it to produce the comic book in whatever various form they want to. So this year was the 3rd year. And it was the first time they picked 2 creators. And when I say 2 creators, it was a creator team as opposed to one person. And that book was originally published in 2014 as a Kickstarter book. So that was that one book that you guys were talking about. It's called Sons of Jupiter, I think. Anyone?
Is that correct?
Um,
I know
I
it had- I know I had.
I
Jupiter in
have
there.
an article on comic book speculation coming out later this week about it that I wrote earlier today, so I should know what it's called, and I don't. But yeah, you can still buy like the first print.
Outcasts of Jupiter. Outcasts of
Outcasts of
Jupiter.
Jupiter. Yeah, you can, and it was originally published in 2014 through Kickstarter as a trade paperback. So it's going to be republished, and they're going to add more new material. So it's definitely something to be thinking about.
Do you know if any of the, so this is the third year they've been doing that? Do you know
This
if
is the
any
third
of
year. The other ones were graphic novels.
Yeah.
And from what I could tell, there was no spec on it on them. So there could be no spec on this one either. But Brian K. Vaughan is pushing it. It's already published. It already has an audience. And
well, this is the first one of those books that has received the grant that looks like it would have major mass appeal, right? I mean, in other words, it's a sci-fi book. The other two were illustrated, but not, in a way that you would see traditional modern comics, at least from the mainstream publishers, illustrated. And I don't know necessarily what the stories are about, but again, this looks like a sci-fi like opera, as opposed to some sort of like transactional comic that looked a lot closer to. I'm trying to think of a good analogy.
Well, there's four main characters, and it's like a space adventure, so it seems really cool. So we'll see. I would assume that Image or somebody else is probably going to eventually pick it up and republish it, and then that's when the trade will probably get its day. But it could never get it. It could possibly never get its day. But I do think it's something to think about.
I bought the books.
But I think that was one of the Kickstarter ones. The other one is a current Kickstarter that's still going on. I think you know a lot more about it, though, than me, Nico.
You say that, and that may not be true.
It's called Graveyard Slaughterhouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Graveyard Slaughterhouse is an anthology book. It's an anthology horror book published by Lunchbox Press. Well, Lunchbox Press has published one book so far.
I didn't even know they had done one yet.
Yeah, it's not like a book that anybody would know of. So this is their first Kickstarter. It's well funded. It has 2 writers and a few artists. Colin Bunn is writing 2 stories, and the other writer is writing a few stories. Again, it's Colin Bunn, and it's a horror anthology. So I would assume there could be spec there because Colin Bunn's horror works are really seeing a lot of interest right now, with Harrow County hitting $20, Bone Parish hitting $20, and I believe there's a few other ones that I'm probably mistaken on. But his horror stuff seems to be gaining a lot of interest. So
this one looks real cool, though. You want to talk a little bit about the premise, or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll let you do that. But I think there's still 26 days left on the campaign, so you can get in on the ground floor. I didn't order any copies because Colin Bunn, I'm not really a big fan of him, but I could see how these could be good books because, again, they're horror books. Right now is when people are loving on horror, and it's Colin Bunn, and he has a track record of whenever he does these kind of books, they eventually get optioned. So, but yeah, what are the books about, Nico?
Yeah, so the theme essentially is the pre-blockbuster video stores where you would have kind of straight to VHS horror flicks in the 1980s, and it kind of harkens back to that sort of nostalgia, at least for me, and I think a lot of other people who remember going and buying these slasher movies when they were little kids and hustling their parents into buying them for them out of VHS stores. So I think it's going to have it checks a lot of boxes for me, and I'm a buyer.
I agree. Yeah, it sounded interesting. I think you're right. I remember going to the video store back in the day. I'm interested to see if I do get any of that feeling from reading the comic. I remember I always used to want to get Faces of Death, and then my mom would be like, "Nah, you can't get that." Like that's
right.
you remember that?
Absolutely.
It's not a movie. It's just real footage of people dying.
Oh, it's horrible.
Because this was pre-internet, or just like really, really messed up stuff.
Oh, horrific. And I had a cousin who, basically a psychopath, sociopath, whatever, who would show me those as a child. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to watch that. Just mortified.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on with young people now on the internet, just know in your hearts that we did that sort of bizarre, self-induced trauma in our own low-tech way back in the 1980s.
We had to convince somebody to let us destroy our minds. You can't just go on the internet and get it. We couldn't destroy our minds just by going on the internet.
Right. Here's $10. I stole out of my Aunt Sally's purse. Will you buy me a pack of or like a Playboy magazine, because there was no internet porn, and the Faces of Death video. That's how that one went down. And a pack of cigarettes, because they were like $3 or $2.50 back in the 1980s. It's a trifecta of like unwholesome, unhealthy behavior.
And I didn't go that far, so you obviously you had some good
you couldn't even get your hands on the fucking movies, bro.
No.
I know that goes. It's okay.
Remember, you would go in and there'd be like a room on the side. Oh, what did they have? Is this the video game room? What the hell is?
Wait a second. You ready? When I was a little kid, my dad vividly remembers and will occasionally recount me running into one of his friends who was like a fucking millionaire businessman in the 1980s, rolling out of the porno room at the local VHS store, and me being like, "Dad, look what he was in the bad room. You told me I wasn't allowed in there." And this dude is just like turning white. Like,
it's picking up some entertainment for the evening.
Yeah, I just assumed everybody, like, as a child, went to like France and just bought pornos and then brought them back. I mean, that's what I did. That's not what you did. You weren't like 11 in France and you just bought like some pornos and smuggled them back. That wasn't just me. Okay,
that wasn't normal behavior.
Oh, I mean, I'm fine with it.
So speaking of going to the movie store, what about Keanu Reeves in Eternals? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They're making a remake of that, but he's going to also do Eternals.
Is that what is that a rumor or is that confirmed?
It's a rumor. He met with them to talk about Eternals, supposedly.
Right, and
I hope he doesn't distract from Bill and Ted's, though.
Amen.
Dumb Eternals movie.
Yeah, and
I'm pretty sure Bill and Ted's is probably completed filming at this point.
Is it?
I would assume so. I mean, they started filming at least 3 months ago.
Oh, okay. Glad to hear that.
Didn't they release a video at the Rose Bowl or something at like some concert venue, and they were like, "Yeah, we're filming, guys." I thought they did.
I don't know. You could be right. Yeah.
Only takes about like 3 weeks to film a movie.
Bill S. Preston Esquire. Ted Theodore Logan.
Not weeks.
No, yeah, weeks.
All right. Nevertheless,
agree to disagree.
There's been, at least recently, some indication that Keanu Reeves was, at least in discussions, to play some other role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and not a character in the Eternals film. I have no idea whether or not either of those stories have any sort of veracity or truth, or if this is just kind of like a rumor that's gotten out of control.
Yeah, I think because they were talking about there's no way to really prove any of these things. All that we know is that there was a meeting, possibly. I don't even know if that's really confirmed. But people are throwing out maybe Icarus, which I think they've already lined up the actor that they want to use for that role. So
yeah, or the villain.
The villain in Eternals, right?
Was the other suggestion, but again, I mean, who knows? Nevertheless,
I can't imagine, unless he's like multiple movies. Why would you get him to be the villain in just one movie? Because he's not gonna be in half the movie, most likely. So you're paying Keanu Reeves now. Granted, does he really command a big check? I don't know. I mean, he's had some success with John Wick, but I don't think he's like at the Rock level or whatever.
Matrix, Speed.
Yeah, those movies are over a decade old.
But what movies has he been in that have been shit?
I mean, are we talking his acting or
that haven't performed well? Okay, we have. I think we have one, which is that Winona Ryder vacation one, right? Where they go like to a wedding. or something.
Okay, take your word for it.
But aside from that, I don't think he's in that many bad movies. He doesn't do that many movies. So
He's
No,
also
he
like the
doesn't.
most well-liked, well-respected actor in Hollywood. I mean, people just adore this guy for who he is as a person.
Yeah,
And you
like
kind
when
of
he's out in public on his own, like he's been caught doing acts of kindness, you know. Well,
Right.
he's no Bill Murray though. I mean, that guy out in public is just everybody loves him.
I guess.
do you watch him pie that elderly woman in the face here in the last 48 hours?
No,
Yeah, it's real life, Bill Murray.
there's a whole documentary on Bill Murray, like in public, that some guy put together.
With him like randomly washing dishes in a fraternity house.
Yeah, that's one of the
he's-
stories.
Yeah,
It's a good movie.
where's the Keanu Reeves one?
He is the king. Don't know, but the point is, I hope we get to see Keanu Reeves in some role in the MCU. You know, and like you hear like just what I think is
Mr.
wishful
Negative.
thinking.
Yeah, Mr. Negative.
He's a DC
Just-
character.
Yeah, just
No, what
wishful
about the
thinking.
Marvel Spider-Man one? That's always in a
Oh.
black suit.
Gotcha.
Wrong?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's
Yeah.
always that would completely be Keanu Reeves, I think, because it has the whole body shape of tall,
Yeah,
lanky,
he wears a suit.
beats the shit out of people. Yeah, wears a suit. Yeah, exactly, and that's his thing. That's just my opinion. If they were going to cast him as somebody, Mr. Negative in the Spider-Man universe would be a good one. Sorry,
It's not-
Nico.
It's not even a rumor, but we'll just go with that.
No, well. The rumor is that he might be cast as somebody.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the only character that screams out to me, Keanu Reeves.
Okay. But you don't. But how many of the Eternals do you know?
None
I
of
could
them.
see him being a cosmic being.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know, flying around.
if he's supposed to be in the Eternals, I guess it's just still up in the air of who he's supposed to play and in what movie and to what capacity, right?
Yeah, I don't know why Eternals was focused on, except that they need to finish up casting soon to start shooting. I would
Anybody
assume.
watch Nosferatu other than me?
No. What'd you think?
It is slow, but it's good. It's character driven. The first episode stars, and I can't remember the female actress's name. She's less of a star, and then, or at least a friendly face or like a familiar face in Hollywood. But she really carries her role quite well. And then the guy from Heroes, Zachary Quinto, plays the villain on the TV show. I liked it, but I'm gonna have to watch a couple more episodes. Like I said, it was kind of a slow build. Basically, the plot is more focused on the relationship between the female lead actress and like trauma that she's going through with a dysfunctional family relationship, or her character kind of being built up at a real slow pace, and then them introducing some other characters. And then there's just kind of like a slow glimpse at the Nosferatu kind of reimagined vampire character that Quinto plays.
How many episodes did you watch?
I watched one. I can pay $5 and get all of the episodes, which I haven't done yet.
What?
So it's on AMC, but all of the
Yeah, you can apparently somehow through
all of the
Comcast.
episodes have dropped. Yeah, no, I saw it on these leaking websites. All the episodes leaked. I had no
Yeah,
interest in watching it, but I noticed that all of them had leaked,
I figured it was on Netflix because all the episodes came out.
or like Hulu or something.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's
So-
some sort of like AMC. I don't know, Prime, right? Is that like a thing? But anyway,
I
you,
don't know.
you pay just a tiny little extra fee and you get all the episodes. I may do that, but I don't know when I'm necessarily gonna have time to sit down and watch all the episodes.
I don't think it's worth it. Probably. I mean, there's so much other stuff to watch right now.
I mean,
Um,
Swamp Thing, the first episode of Swamp Thing leaked too, right?
Well, it came out.
When I say
Friday.
leak, I mean it dropped.
Yeah.
Right,
It comes
so-
out weekly now
Yeah,
on Friday, same as Titans did.
yeah. I'd much rather watch either of those than and even Doom Patrol than this new Nosferatu.
Well, Titans isn't over, is it? Or Titans
No, but
season
I'd
2 hasn't started, right?
Episodes of Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing than Nosferatu.
Yeah, I'm a Joe Hill fan.
Doom Patrol's done.
Yeah, I haven't
But
watched any of them though.
I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
Yeah, I'm a Joe Hill fan, which is why I watched Nosferatu. I'm really looking forward to Lock and Key.
Yeah, I hope they do that thing right, because that's a great weird story. And it's got a lot of it's got a lot to keep you watching. Like in the comics, every comic or every 2 comics, like they unlocked something else. That's the whole premise is there's all these different keys that unlock different things in this house and alternate realms kind of thing. So if they got the budget for it, they could be really cool.
Do you think
That'd be great.
Do you think DJ Khaled will make an appearance?
Am I missing something here?
Okay, move on.
We the best.
No, it's major key alert.
Oh,
Anyways, whatever.
did that one app get him to do a advertisement?
You know, I don't think they have. I don't think Key Collector has. But like, if my phone said like another one instead of like whatever notification it did, that would be the funniest thing. If he somehow was able to get even a DJ Khaled impersonator to do that, that would be the funniest thing.
That would be awesome.
I'd be into that. Is
I
there
think
anything else
we're
going
on
on
to
this week
something.
though?
Yeah. Speaking of the Key Collector app, real shrewd move. He dropped his top 20 on the CGC boards. And I didn't get a chance to read all the comments, but I wonder if that's going to be a continued practice on behalf of the app, because if it is, I think it's smart, and it would absolutely put him on equal footing in short order with CBSI or any of the top 10 lists.
He's had the top 20 on the app for a month now.
But I think like there's been a lot of pushback on the CGC boards with him, right? So I'm not sure what.
But not with respect to that. I mean, I didn't get through all of them, but not with respect to that top 20 list, man. It was just like, thank you.
Yeah. Well, the only other
right, the CGC board's starving for speculation, as if they don't know that all of these other things exist.
Yeah,
I don't get it, but that was really interesting.
You're dealing with dinosaurs.
It's Sleepy's fault, really. He's the only one who posts any spec there.
I'm not even on there. Sleepy John is not on there.
Yeah, next one.
The only other stuff that I want to talk about was it kind of came out the same time as the Pattinson Batman was Idris Elba as maybe Bronze Tiger, not confirmed, but it's a possibility that he's playing him.
What's the book that I don't
mentioned
have?
that on the podcast before?
Yeah, what's the book that I don't have?
Key Collector mentioned it before you, I noticed.
Well, is that why I have 5 of them in my collection, I guess? You're right.
Yeah, shout out Key Collector, I guess.
Yeah, what is that? Sound like Mel. Shout out to my man
Richard.
Nick.
No, but they knew it. They did put it out before you put it out. I'm not doubting you in your spec game. I'm just saying.
What is the book?
Richard Dragon #1 is.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And
they've dried up on eBay.
No, Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter #1 is the first Ben Turner, who later becomes Bronze Tiger in the last issue of the series. Bronze Tiger is seen on the cover. He's a referee for martial arts in this Bronze Tiger costume. 18, I believe. It's that one is I mean, I've been looking for.
Which book do you like? The 18, probably. Yeah,
absolutely. It's where he's called Bronze Tiger. If you can name another book where, like a normal character who doesn't have superpowers is worth anything.
Carol Danvers, first appearance.
Cletus Cassidy.
Oh boy, that book's been going up.
Aha!
Why is that? Why is that book?
What about Carol Danvers?
Nobody knows who she is. But anyway, Cletus Cassidy Amazing Spider-Man 344,
What's Carol Danvers' first appearance without a costume?
13. Marvel
Hey,
Superheroes 13.
this is-
No, what? She still has a costume. She's just
Yeah.
not Captain Marvel, right?
For the record, we've come full circle.
Are you saying no? Wait, are you saying no?
Who
You
is?
saying Carol Danvers doesn't have powers in her first appearance?
She gets zapped in their first appearance, but she doesn't get her powers till 18, I think, right? The one with the humanoid
That-
robot on
that's
the cover.
correct.
Whatever.
Nevertheless,
You guys are wrong. I'm right.
What do you got for us, Nico?
we've come full circle. Speaking of
Oh,
good old Carol Danvers, just to remind everyone, this is the giveaway, and all you have to do is like and share this video and on some form of social media, whether that's Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, that can be on your page, or perhaps some group that you moderate or belong to that's just looking for or hungry for speculation, investment, market trends, and other discussions about comic books. Screenshot it and send it to comicbookwars@gmail.com to be entered into the free giveaway.
I think that's all we had. Right?
sounds good to me.
This was a great podcast. Thanks, guys, for joining me. When I say thanks, guys, I of course mean John and Nico. I thank you guys for watching this. And again, I really enjoy doing this. So hopefully we'll be back next week with an all new episode. And make sure to check out comicbookspeculation.com for some more posts or whatever. Thanks again, Nico. You can end it anytime now.